What's up, YouTube family? It's Natalie. It's Hotshot Adventures. So, you guys, before we get into this video, this recap video, a couple of announcements. Number one, we're finally over 19,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for those of you who are subscribed, who continue to comment on my videos. It means a lot to me, the support of this channel and your guys' continued support, well wishes, positive reinforcement. It's just been a blessing. This has been a crazy journey, but it's been also a lot of fun. This line of work can be very, very stressful. So you guys encourage me. You guys encourage me a lot in a lot of ways, probably more than you understand, to keep going and to keep sharing my journey. So thank you so much. And at 20,000 subscribers, you guys, at 20,000, we'll do a $500 giveaway. We'll do a giveaway. I like to do giveaways. I like to, share with you guys. So at 20,000, if you guys aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and I'll do a giveaway. If you like any of the tools or the equipment that you see in my truck, I have an Amazon page that's on the link. The link is on the description of every video that I've pretty much ever posted. You guys can go and check that out. And third and final announcement, you guys, Jefferson is looking for a CDL driver. So if you know of anybody who is looking to make a transition, they do have to have their CDL over 2 years. They do need to have some flatbed experience, clean MBR, no drugs or alcohol. Come on, like, we're adults and I'm looking for an adult. You will be driving Jefferson's truck and trailer. I will be dispatching you and taking care of you as far as the day-to-day stuff. So if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area or somewhere around there, or maybe in East Texas, Northeast Texas, that would be great. If you guys want to leave a comment on this video, or if you want to email me if you are interested. We are looking to fill the seat sooner rather than later. hotshotnatalie411@gmail.com. I wanted to do this recap because I recorded videos all throughout this 4 weeks, right? The last 4 weeks that I was out on the road, I hauled a total of, well, technically a total of 5 loads, but one of the loads was the tiny house, which I moved twice. So technically 4 loads, but I moved one load 2 times, if that makes sense. So the videos are pretty spread out because on top of me, I love to record for you guys. I record as I go. So I smash a lot of time into like a 10 to 15 minute video. It takes time for me to do the work and record, and then takes time for me to sit down somewhere like right now in a hotel room and have a couple free hours to edit and upload and do all of that stuff. The videos, since it was such a long trip, you guys, the videos are pretty spread out. And even though you may have seen 1 or 2, maybe you didn't watch all of them, I'm here to just kind of give you a recap. And so I spent 4 weeks on the road. It was 4 weeks to the day. I left on a Monday and I came back 4 weeks later on a Sunday night. If you think about the last move, I came home with the tiny house on that Sunday. So, and then it needed tires, and then I finally got to deliver it, and it was almost 600 miles. So it would have taken me like 1 more day. So it would have been like perfect 4 weeks or 4 weeks and 1 day for me to complete this. All of these loads, right? And it was pretty cool. We'll go into the pros and cons, but for right now, we'll go over the loads. If you guys remember, I left Texas with the merchandise trailer. I took it from Houston to Arizona to Los Angeles, and that's where I parted with it. It took me about a week to complete that run, and it grossed me $5,200. From Los Angeles, I deadheaded to basically Las Vegas. And I picked up that fire rescue boat, okay? That was a really cool boat, and it went clear across the country to Virginia. That grossed me $7,300. The third move, unfortunately, I was under time constraints. I thought I had given myself extra time in between loads, but it turned out that I had to turn and burn all of a sudden. So I deadheaded from Virginia to freaking Denver to pick up the tiny house for the first time. And if you remember, I had a lot of issues with the trailer. The trailer needed to be repaired. The trailer needed tires. The trailer needed all kinds of stuff in order for me to move it from Denver to Phoenix, which I did execute the load, and I got it to Phoenix on time for the trade show, for the show. That grossed me, the first move of the tiny house grossed me $3,500. I thought I had time to go from Phoenix to Montana to start the Glacier National Park red tour buses move. I had that move, which was kind of a hand-me-down load from Mr. Matt. I was, again, under the gun for time, so I didn't find anything, so I deadheaded up to Montana. I took care of the buses. The buses took me 7 days. They were $12,000. And then the last move I did, which was kind of an unexpected move for me, was I ended up deadheading back down from Montana back to Phoenix to pick up the tiny house for the second time. That move I just finished, right? It took me a lot longer because I went from Phoenix to Texas, and I came home basically and waited for new tires for the trailer because we were just having so many issues with that little trailer. I just completed that move and I got paid for it, and it was almost $8,000. It was $7,850 for that move. So altogether, the gross total for 4 weeks of me being on the road was $35,850. Now, I'm not sharing this information with you guys to brag or boast, okay? That's not my intent. It's never my intent. When I started doing revenue recap loads, and I've done them pretty much the life of the channel, when I started doing them, it was just to share with you guys what's out there, what I'm finding, and what I'm doing, right? Whether it be power only. I've been doing a lot of power only now because I got in with a great broker, okay? This is all, well, 4 out of the 5 are brokered loads, and I don't have a problem with brokers. And I've told you guys this before in many other videos. If a broker treats me well and pays me fairly, I'm happy. I got no problem. They're his customers. He's doing a lot of the footwork. He deserves to get a piece of the pie. Do I know what the percentage is that he's keeping? I do not, and I don't ask. He treats me fairly. I've never had to pull that card. You can technically pull that card as a carrier and ask the broker, well, how much are you getting paid for the load? But I feel that I'm being treated fairly and respected as a carrier that does a service and does a damn good job at it. And so I've never barked up that tree. Now, I don't share this with you to brag or boast. I share it with you just so that maybe you guys who are looking at the industry have an idea of what somebody is actually netting, grossing as well as netting, because we're going to go over those numbers. I had a lot of expenses, you guys, but in a 4-week period to make almost 40 grand, that was probably my best month. 35,850 is pretty damn good. Now let's go over what it actually cost me to make those runs, okay? To complete those runs, because it costs money. Not only does it cost my time, my expertise, my blood, my sweat, my tears sometimes, it costs money to execute these loads. As an owner-operator, there are costs involved, you guys. So when I tell you 36 grand is what I made in 4 weeks, let's break down what it costs me to make that basically $36,000. Okay. I clocked my mileage when I left the house, and I looked at my mileage after I came back from Georgia. It was 15,000 and something. Now I had huge with this power only stuff, right? I'm telling you guys, take it with a grain of salt, because 15,000 total miles, but I estimate 5,000 of those 15,000 were straight deadhead miles. So a third of the miles that I ran for those 4 weeks was just me and my truck. No trailer, no load, no nothing. So that's a lot of deadhead, okay? And that's gotta be a pill that you're willing to swallow. It's been hard for me to swallow that pill. I'm kind of getting used to it, I guess, you know. When the loads are good like this, it's okay. Of course, I didn't plan. I planned on being able to do runs in between these runs, and I kind of had spaced them out, but then stuff happened and something happened and something happened, and then I ended up deadheading. You got to be willing to swallow that pill, whether you get that quote unquote cheaper load. That's kind of like I'm just going to run this load over to the next good load type load, you know, which a lot of people do, you guys, in power only, in flatbed, in big rig, in a hot shot, you know, a lot of people do that. But in my case, I deadheaded. So 5,000 miles were deadhead miles, and approximately 10,000 were loaded miles. So if we break that down, I didn't save receipts, you guys. Okay. I'm sorry. You know, we're going to do this breakdown, and I'm going to put numbers and pictures and stuff up here, but I did not save numbers and do a spreadsheet like I do when I do these gross versus net videos, which I have done several, at least a handful in the past. We're going to just go ahead and estimate 5,000 deadhead miles. When I'm deadhead, me and my truck, of course I'm jamming, because you can imagine if I had a 1,200 mile deadhead, I'm not in the slow lane, and I don't have a trailer behind me. So I was going, you know, definitely the speed limit. 16 miles to the gallon is basically what I get, okay, when I'm 70 miles down the highway, okay, with just me and my truck. So that's, if we divide 5,000 by 16, we get 312 gallons of fuel. I'm going to average out my fuel cost at $3.40 a mile. In a lot of cases, it was a lower cost, $3.18, $3.10, $3.25. And in a few cases, I remember like that week I spent up in Montana, the cheapest fuel I could find was $3.49. So we're going to average this gallons at $3.40 a gallon, just to make it simple for us. 312 gallons is at $3.40 a gallon is $1,062, okay? Now the 10,000 loaded miles, we're going to average out my loaded MPG at 8 miles to the gallon. In some cases it was higher, in some cases it was a little lower, depending on wind, mountains, the size of the load, etc., etc. So I'm just going to average it out to 8 miles to the gallon. 10,000 miles divided by 8 miles to the gallon is 1,250 gallons of fuel at $3.40 a gallon, which we're calling my average, right? We're talking $4,250 in fuel for my loaded. So if we add those two numbers up, empty miles and loaded miles, $35,850 minus my fuel of about $5,300. Now, I hauled an oversized boat, right? And the buses were oversized and the tiny house was oversized. So 4 out of my 5 loads were oversized loads. I had a lot of permits, you guys. I had a lot of permits. And here is one of the places where I can trim the fat. Now you're seeing up here the actual permit invoices from my permit company. They just jacked up their prices once again. So I am looking for a new permit company. You guys, they charge me $35 per permit. I've been with them for years. They move fast. They're not communicating with me as well as they could or should. And after a rate hike, I am now looking for a new permit company. So any of you guys out there are happy with your permit company and they're doing less than $35 per permit per state, please let me know. Share their name and number in the comments for me, because I'm looking to make a move. So this is one of the areas where I could have trimmed the fat if I went with a permit company that was less costly, or if I just pulled the permits myself, which I think I might start figuring out how to do, because the permits cost me $2,251. I was out for a month, right? So we got a month of insurance. We'll say insurance is $1,500, and I got a truck payment, right? The gray truck is almost paid off, but she's not paid off yet. So we're still making payments. We're going to say that was a $1,500 payment. So we're going to add on $3,000 to that total of deductions from this gross number. I had 2 oil changes, okay? I don't remember what they cost, but we're going to say they were under $200, but we're going to call it $200. So that's two of them. So that's $400. If we're adding up all of the expenses, we're now at $11,000 in expenses. That's to pay my insurance, my permits, my fuel, my truck payment, and the little bit of upkeep, which was just oil changes for the month. Now, there's always added expenses. Some of you may choose to add in your hotel costs, your food, and showers and stuff like that. Some of you may want to add those things in to this, and I will tell you, there were other expenses. My ELD cost me $35 a month. My pre-pass cost me $17 a month. If we add in a little bit of money for IFTA, because of course I'm going to have to pay my IFTA fuel tax at the end of the quarter, little things like that. And of course I'm setting aside, right? You always set aside money to pay for the tires, to pay for the brakes. I ordered new shocks for the rear on the gray truck. That was $400 for a set of Fox shocks. So, I mean, you have to be putting money aside for regular maintenance, okay? So $11,000 in the big costs, right, to run the loads. I'm gonna go ahead and add on $1,500 on top of that number. So we're looking at $12,500 in costs, okay, for me to run those loads. $35,850 minus $12,500 in expenses. I'm looking at a general net gross of $23,350. If we break that down per week, that's over $5,000 a week to my pocket, okay? All the loads have been paid. I mean, that's pretty good money for just a girl in her pickup truck. Okay, I mean, I don't know. You guys, please share with me in the comments if you think that's good, if you don't think I charged enough, if you think I'm crazy for having a permit company and not pulling these permits myself. Like when I got that invoice for the buses, it was 16 permits for the buses because I had to do 4 trips. And when I got the invoice, I was like, $1,200, you know. It's like, you're retarded, Natalie. Like, you need to start pulling these permits yourself. So you guys, there are some places where I could trim some fat on some of these expenses. Okay, I did stay at hotels when I felt like I needed to stay at hotels. For the most part, I stayed in the back seat of my truck. The weather is very temperate and cool right now. It's a perfect time to take advantage of no hotels or minimal hotels, which I'm in a hotel right now, you guys. Depending on how much recording, editing, invoicing, and other miscellaneous computer work I have to do, some nights I just get a hotel room. There are some expenses in there, right, that I could cut down a little bit. If you look for 5 loads, 35 grand for literally 5 loads is all I had to touch. That was 5 sets of phone calls, you know, as opposed to when I'm running my flatbed, right? When I'm running my 53-foot flatbed and I'm stacking partials, I could have like 3-4 parcels on the trailer at any given time. Like Joe, for example. Joe's leased onto me. I mean, he averages like 6-7 loads per week, and he works Monday through Friday. So we run a partial game on his trailer, and I mean, he's averaging like 6-7 loads a week, you guys. So for me to only touch 5 and make that kind of money, I thought that was pretty damn good. And even with the deadhead, I thought, shit, man, that's still pretty damn good, because I mean, it sucks. The deadhead sucks. That's 1/3 of my miles was deadhead miles. So it sucked. I didn't plan it out that way. I planned it out more sporadically. So hopefully I could get a couple, at least 1 or 2 of those deadheads minimized with another cheap, you know, a cheap little bumper pull out of somewhere along the way, pick it up along the way, drop it off along the way type deal. But it just didn't work out. You know, it didn't work out. And had I done that, yes, it would have increased my gross number, probably would have increased my net number, but it also would have increased the amount of time that I stayed out on the road. So we have to take those things into account, right? But for a girl in her pickup truck, 36 G's in 4 weeks, bro, that's pretty good, right? Another pro, you guys, another pro that I see to this run was my off time. You know, if you guys watched the whole video series, I spent a few days in California. I visited my uncle one day. I hung out at the beach by myself, but I did get to see, you know, the beach for a day. I did get Mama had requested organic California garlic. She swears it's better when I go to California and get her garlic. So I was able to get her garlic. You know, I tripped around. I got to see Danny Trejo's, you know, donut shop. And I got, you know, if you remember the video, I got to trip around in Phoenix. I saw Jefferson in Arizona. He helped me fix, you know, the merchandise trailer, and we met up for lunch or dinner, whatever it was. Those are cool parts of the trip that I show you guys, not to show off or again, not to boast or brag. It's to show you that I have found a way, and you can too, to make a lifestyle like this work for yourselves. Okay, I have figured out how to work it for myself. I have like a whole ass team behind me. My mom, my daughter, you guys know, they take care of the, you know, the farm. They take care of everything. My horses got out a couple days ago. The cops were at my house, you guys, 10 o'clock at night. They busted the gate down, and my mom's going, what's all these lights outside? You guys, my freaking horses were running around in the damn highway at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, if I was on the road and nobody was there, how could I fix something like that? You know, I would have to call a neighbor or call the fire department, or I don't know who the hell I would call. You know, I had Lexi there. I had Mom there. They wrestled the damn horses in the backyard for a couple days. And today my honey went and repaired the fencing and got their little shithead asses back where they belong, you know. But I have a team behind me. I have support at home, and I have support, you know, on the road, even if it's just on the phone. I have created a network of friends and fellow drivers, other trucking companies, you know, that, hey, throw me a load. Matt threw me that phenomenal load, you know. I mean, I have direct customers that reach out to me. And of course, another pro, obviously, when you spend 4 weeks out on the road, which many of you guys, and I'd love to know in the comments, but many of you guys do that. But then when you come home, what do? You're off for 2 weeks, maybe more, you know, which is what happened with me. Unfortunately, I came home sick, but I ended up taking basically 2 weeks off, and before I go out, you know, on my next run. So there is a sacrifice in working the 4 weeks, But the gain to staying out for 4 weeks is when you do get home, you're home for a minute. And if you don't have small kids, you know, or whatever your family dynamic is, if that lifestyle works with your family dynamic, then great. It kind of works out for my lifestyle. I could see why guys run. They chase the money 3-4 weeks and then they come home and they're home for a good minute, right? What are the cons? What are the cons that I noticed? Now, this was my first time, you guys. Before this run, I think I stayed out 3 weeks or almost 3 weeks on like 2, maybe 3 different occasions in the entire 6 years that I have had this business, right? Since I've created this business for 6 years, I like to go out and come back within my 70 hours, and I like to reset at home, generally speaking. So I don't really like to stay out on the road. I don't like to wash my clothes at a hotel or a truck stop. I don't want to sit in my truck or at a hotel doing a 34-hour reset if I can help it, right? The money's great, right? The money's great, but being out for 1 solid month is really hard. It's not something that, generally speaking, guys just jump right into a schedule like that. Like, I am so conditioned. Me reflecting back to my very first run doing Hot Shot, which was only like Los Angeles to Phoenix, which is like 350 miles, you guys. I distinctly remember that run and how many times I stopped and how stressed out I was about the trailer and the load and how I couldn't figure out the GPS and how, you know, if I had to make U-turns because I missed a turn and all of that stuff. I don't really have those issues anymore. Like, I've conditioned myself into this job. You're probably not gonna, you know, jump into this and stay your first weeks or your first months or even your first year necessarily jumping into a 4-week straight schedule. You might, maybe you're more gangster than me. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to say nothing, but I am pretty gangster, okay? But I'm conditioned. Now I am conditioned. It is normal for me to sit in that seat for 12 or 14 or more hours. It is normal for me to do that every single day until my reset. Like, I'm conditioned, and that just takes time. You know, I don't think I would have ever tried this in the beginning. I think within my first 5 months of operation, I did 1 long run, which was like 9 days. And I thought I was doing big things. You know, I was doing big things. I kind of bounced my way from Los Angeles up to Salt Lake City, and then I bounced my way back, and it took me like 9 days. And I thought, I was like, wow, I went far, and I've been gone a long time, you know? And now I'm like, shoot, I went from this coast to that coast to up here, almost to Canada, to down there, almost to freaking Mexico, and then back, and now I'm back in Texas. And it's like, that's kind of normal now, and that's just because the years of conditioning of physically and mentally doing this job. Now it's just like second nature. Another con, you guys, which, like I said, I'm still trying to get used to it. If you're gonna run power only, you need to understand you are gonna have some deadhead miles, especially if you're going after the better paying loads, the higher paying loads where it's one and done, and it's, you know, thousands of dollars, 5,000, 7,000, 12,000. These are big numbers for one load, okay? So if you're going after those big loads like this run was, you're gonna have to deadhead to get from where you dropped the one high paying load off to where you're gonna pick up the next high paying load up. It is not like flatbed, you know, for Hot Shot, like I might deadhead an hour, I might deadhead 60 miles for a load, but there's usually loads that are pretty close. You know, I might deadhead 2 hours, 100 miles, I don't know, you know, but I'm not deadheading, you know, 1,200 miles for no load, like absolutely not, you know. But with power only, yeah, it is definitely a real thing. And then I have one other thing down for the cons, which I kind of already went over, which was the cost of permit. I spent a lot on $2,250, $51 on permits, but 4 of my 5 loads were oversized loads. I'm looking to trim the fat there a little bit, but that is a con. You know, that's an added expense. It's an added risk. It's an added stressor for, you know, for some of us. It may stress guys out and they don't want to touch oversized, which I understand. I don't mind it. I like it. I don't know. I like oversized loads. I like running them. It doesn't bother me. You just have to, you know, you got to be careful and know that people don't respect us. This is another good point that I want to make really quick before I close this video out. People don't respect hot shots when you're driving on the road. Even if you have all your banners and your lights and your flags and you have double the amount that you need, they respect, my opinion is they respect a hot shot less than they would a big rig oversized load or an actual mobile home mover. They're cutting me off. They're getting close. They're, I'm kind of veering into the right lane because they're not giving me the space that I feel like I should need, or the space that would make me more comfortable. I'm like, are they paying attention? Are they on their phone? It is a bit of a stressor when you're running hotshot because you look smaller, right? Even though you're oversized, you know how big you are. I mean, that one fire rescue boat was 11 feet wide. That's the entire width of the freaking lane on the highway, you guys. And they don't care. They're not paying attention. And I'm like, I know this boat's expensive. It's broken, but it's still expensive as hell. And like, these people need to get out of my way. I honked, I don't like to honk at people because people's automatic reaction is to hit their brakes when anybody honks. And that can be a dangerous situation. But I had to honk, I think, on at least a handful of occasions with these oversized loads because it's like, hey, pay attention. Get your phone out of your hand. So you guys be mindful of that as well. That's my experience, and I've run a lot of oversized loads. Pretty good numbers, right? I was glad to be home. Even though I came home sick, I was very glad to be home. It was a hard run, but it was a profitable run for me. You guys, we'll see what comes up next in the future. I've been running a lot of power only, but I enjoy flatbed work. I like throwing straps and chains and playing Tetris on my trailer, as you guys have seen me do over the years. So I am hopefully looking forward to getting that trailer behind me in the near future and running flatbed for a little while. But I have been enjoying the ride of this power only stuff. So you guys, let me know, comments, questions, concerns, permit companies. If you're a driver who wants to drive for Jefferson and work with me on a daily basis, please, like I said, reach out to me, leave me a comment with your email. It won't go public. But I will find it. It will be in another little folder. I'll find it, or you can reach out to me again, hotshotnatalie411@gmail.com. You guys take care. Be safe. I'll talk to you soon.